Hello. Several profound experiences occurred this quarter while listening to guided shamanic meditations. Those experiences became the catalyst inspiring the topic of this paper, Neo-Shamanism. Are you one? Our assigned video presentations depicting the shamanic rituals of indigenous cultures strongly reminded me of the guided meditations I often tune into on YouTube, and I was immediately drawn to their similarities. I have been listening to guided meditations for years. Over the years, I have noticed that some guided meditations are more effective at facilitating said claims as to assist in obtaining deep or altered states of consciousness. But they all seem to share traits remarkably similar to those of the traditional shamanic ritual. A quick YouTube search will reveal that guided meditations come in many styles and artistic interpretations. They can be searched by the frequency, hertz, that they are produced at, by the tones, solfeggio frequencies, used to construct them, binaural beats, different frequencies introduced into each ear, guided or unguided. And to grab your attention, they make claims to having the ability to heal, to rewrite DNA, and assist in quantum shifting by reprogramming thought patterns. I cannot confirm or deny that these modalities rewrite human DNA, but I can tell you that I have been tuning in for years, and that I have found myself deeply rooted within altered states of consciousness where I have experienced shifts and aspects of the way I think about and perceive life. Because of these experiences, I make the effort to, or have established, a meditative practice. It seems that each time I enter an altered state of consciousness, I return with new insight with the potential to heal some aspect of my personal journey. Now that I have a better understanding of the shamanic healing practices, I have concluded that the meditation audio tracks found on YouTube are very similar to traditional shamanic healing in that they both guide the listeners into altered states of consciousness through rhythms, frequencies, chanting, and verbal guided imagery that somehow reveal a pathway, a portal that gestures the listener towards altered states of conscious awareness. For me, altered states means remaining conscious and fully aware of my surroundings. One must be conscious enough to see the pathway, the portal, in order to deepen into the space. I theorize, in the same way that every shaman throughout history must have, that these altered states of consciousness contain the capacity to facilitate powerful healing through this inward process, whereby one experiences a very intimate, potentially life-altering moment with self. Different cultures around the planet share similar shamanic practices and traits. The shamanic traits that stand out most for me are the altered states of consciousness and the healing that occurs while visiting these realms. It is said that this space is where healing commences. It is generally agreed upon that shamanism is the oldest healing modality known to man. The word shaman comes from the Sanskrit word saman, or song, but that it has also been translated to inner heart and described as one who is excited and is moved to raise. These terms apply to the activities of shamans, past and present, men and women, who enter what are often described as shamanic states of consciousness in order to engage in spiritual practices that benefit their community. Shamanism is a cross-cultural phenomenon with early roots in Siberia, although evidence of such practices exist in various forms across Asia, Africa, Europe, and North and South America, some dating as far back as the Paleolithic era. Traditional shamans accompany those needing healing into altered states of consciousness by way of rhythmic chanting, drumming, singing, verbal guidance, and often accompanied by hallucinogenic substances. Maria Sabina Magdalena Garcia, a revered Saba, Spanish for the word who knows, or shaman, lived in Mexico from 1894 to 1985. During an interview about her healing journey, she said, "When someone came to me for help, we would eat the mushrooms together. Jesus Christ is in the mushrooms, and he reveals to us the solution to the problem." Throughout history, hallucinogens have been known to play a role in shamanic healing practices, but they are just one of the many tools in a shamanic healing arsenal, and may not always be needed to obtain altered states of consciousness or healing. It is well documented that altered states of consciousness can be obtained non-chemically, such as the sonic rhythm produced by drums or rattles, by sleep deprivation, chanting, singing, and even dancing. To prove this point, researchers have monitored the brainwaves of individuals who have entered into altered states of consciousness through the use of psychedelics and have compared those results to those who achieve altered states by means of meditation alone. These findings confirm that higher states of consciousness can be obtained without the use of psychedelics, substances, and by the use of rhythmic elements. Neo-Shamanism is used to describe an integral approach to shamanism. Neo-Shamanism is the application and practice of shamanic techniques in contemporary Western society and function as a system of healing alternative to traditional medicine. Guided shamanic meditations, such as those available on YouTube, are a good example of Neo-Shamanism methodologies. Have you ever tuned to a YouTube guided shamanic, or for that matter, any form of guided meditation that uses sound as a hypnotic tool? Did you do that to help you relax, to sleep, or to reach higher states of consciousness? These similar shamanic techniques, discovered 5,000 years ago, are now being reinvented, therefore, the Neo-Shaman. Another similarity between traditional and Neo-Shamanism caught my attention. Modern users of hallucinogenics report having received important, often life-altering information while under the effects of hallucinogens. Isn't this what shamans have done for generations? The modern Neo-Shaman is not only a healer, but they are also the patient. This might be the driving force behind the process of becoming a Neo-Shaman. I personally know many Neo-Shamans who have not come to the conclusion that I have, but nevertheless they are following in the footsteps of traditional shamans. Just as the traditional shaman, the Neo-Shaman uses meditative rhythmic practices to obtain altered states of consciousness whereby they obtain useful information. We learned in class this quarter that the shamanic view of mental illness is that it signals the birth of a healer. I am inclined to think of this process as an evolutionary step designed to take participants beyond the old, outdated paradigm and into the next phase of their journey, whereby they may remember a personal connection to the cosmos and to all things. During writing and researching this paper, I began to think that the process may not be right for everyone. Perhaps the process calls to us at times when we are ready to take on the work. Could there be some element of the rhythmic nature of shamanic healing that attracts those called to shamanism? There is much left to be discovered. If one were to actively choose a neo-shamanistic approach to healing by implementing selected guided shamanic meditations, one might immediately sense the powerful pull that lies just within the rhythms. This is a very personal process whereby all inferences might be best left for the user to interpret. This practice is not a one-shot fix-all, but it certainly can have profound effects in just one session. It is my understanding that this process is better understood as an eternal unfoldment of the possibilities yet to be discovered. This may have much to do with the fact that humans are continuously expanding and always seeking greater insight. The shamanic guided meditations may be the perfect tool for helping individuals navigate current life situations. I will conclude by adding my personal opinion that many of these guided meditations are in fact modernized representations of ceremonial shamanic healing practices and therefore can be utilized to experience benefits. Not everyone agrees. Some see the shaman as a con man whose healing skills are the equivalent of putting on a show. This may be true in some situations. Accounts have conceived the shaman as a charlatan, a psychotic, a performer, and even a psychotherapist, a guardian, and a doctor. Researcher Singh proposed an addition to this list: the shaman as a cheesecake. That is, the shaman as an exquisite confection crafted to tickle the sensitive spots of our mental faculties. I agree with Singh in that the point of shamanism is to tackle the sensitive spots of our mental faculties, and that can only really be achieved by doing the work ourselves. A shaman can guide you into a healing process, but it is your perception of the shift that promotes healing by shifting the mental faculties needed to create healing within your life. Anyone called to navigate altered states of consciousness, regardless of your intention, because intentions change. It is my belief that by participating alone makes you a Neo-Shaman.